It's time for the predictions. I think you might be a little bit surprised by your boy, but I'm sure Tristyn's got us covered. We're diving into the Nevada Gophers Week 3 game today.
You are Locked On Golden Gophers, your daily podcast on the Minnesota Golden Gophers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Gophers family. You are listening to Locked On Golden Gophers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. I'm Kane Rob, host of the podcast, former collegiate football video coordinator and recruiting assistant, here to talk Golden Gophers with you each and every day of the week, Monday through Friday. And we are joined by our weekly co-host, Tristyn Spann-Ford. We're ready to get into these predictions, ready to get after it once again. And you know what? We'll get to the who won and whatnot in a little bit, but our point totals are both going up. We're getting more accurate. We're getting in mid-season form. So you're definitely not going to want to miss these prediction shows moving forward. But let's talk about the absolute stomping, demolishing, 48-0 when it came to the Rhode Island Rams, as Tristyn learned last week. But they can still call Max Daddy Brosmer. How are you feeling after that big win for the Gophers?
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I told you I was going to talk myself up. We're ramping up right now, and we got a good one this week too. We're ramping up. The best part about the whole weekend was watching the win probability, and it just stayed solid the whole time. I was like, that was the best. That was such a good feeling.
Not used to that feeling. Not used
exactly.
to that. You're used to that roller coaster. You know, you just
up and down, up and down.
Waves of the game. But for this big one, 48-0, there's lots of different scores, lots of big moments. What was your favorite moment of the game for you?
The overall of the game. Now, I will be honest, I was in and out of this game. We had a bunch of stuff going on Saturday. So I was just kind of popping in, trying to watch it on my phone where I could. But I was more so watching that stat line from Max and loved the attempts. I was just locked into the attempts that we were throwing. We were throwing the ball just as often as we ran it. I loved it. It was the perfectly balanced game.
Yes. 80% completion too, which is absolutely crazy. 30 attempts and you're getting 80% completion. I'm here for it. Now, I was also in and out of this game, but I was in and out of sleeping in this game because I was knocked out with the flu. Me and my little man both had the stomach flu, so that was not fun. But every time I woke up, and I feel like it was like little 10-minute waves. You know, I missed every commercial, but I got the good parts of the game.
Yep.
But, you know, every time I was waking up, we were scoring more points. So I was like, maybe I got to do this in the press box. Maybe I got to take little naps. And
I should have warned you when you had kids. When you had a kid, your house just becomes a petri dish. That's all it is now.
It was the first week of daycare, bro, and he comes back.
Yep. Daycare.
Like, oh no. But my favorite moment in this game was actually the defense, because the defense is legit. Now, I called this in the prediction. I said they're going to have a big turnover game. 3 turnovers. I was really excited by that. But overall, 135 total offensive yards given up. 135. I don't care if you're playing a high school team, an FCS team, a FBS team. Only allowing 135 yards is top-notch defense. So that was impressive to me overall. But we also got to see our freshman quarterback get in the game, and he scored a touchdown in the game. He wasn't looking like a freshman quarterback. So, I mean, there was just lots of fun stuff in this game overall, lots of promise. Anything else you were intrigued by when it came to the Rhode Island butt whooping?
Not necessarily that intrigued me, because, again, we knew how confident I was going into this game, and this is the stomping that I wanted. But I did love to see the next up get some playing time. That was awesome.
Absolutely. But now we're turning the page. We're moving to Nevada.
Yep.
And this one, you're going to be a little bit off put maybe by my maybe not so all in optimism. I still think the Gophers are probably going to win this game, but I think it's going to be far closer than what many fans are thinking. I think a lot of fans are thinking they were 2-10 last year. They should blow this team out. Like, it's going to be another Rhode Island weekend. And I just don't see that happening. Now, I hope to be wrong, but we're moving over to Nevada this week. I think it's not a walkover team, but how are you feeling about this Nevada team? You think I'm in the wrong? You think that they're going to put on a double-digit victory, or how are you feeling heading into this one?
I do. I don't feel as confident, obviously, with Rhode Island. I am still extremely confident. I think that this team, the same stuff we talked about week 1 still matters, even though we lost to North Carolina. And we still have guys who have been doing this. Now they're getting into the rhythm of things. And I think the momentum from Rhode Island is just going to carry over into this game before the real tests start. So I'm still pretty high on this team, or on the Gophers to play pretty well and kind of keep some distance in this game.
Yeah, we're going to find out how high Tristyn is in his predictions in just a little bit. But this is a team, in my opinion, that could legitimately be 3-0 heading into this game. They're 1-2, and I'm talking about both teams. Both teams could be 3-0. Nevada could have won both of their games they lost, and the Gophers should have won that North Carolina game. But overall, if one or two, maybe three different plays go a different way for this Nevada team, they were single score games in every single one of their games so far, and they've played quality competition. Georgia Southern is a quality G5 team. Troy was an 11-win team last year, and then SMU is a power conference team, and they were all single score games. So I do think that this Nevada team is a good challenge, and a good challenge at the right time for this Gophers team, especially before we head into Iowa week. So overall, when we're looking at this game, how involved do you think Darius Taylor is going to be? We got him a light amount of touches in this last one. I think he had 14 on the ground and 4 through the air, so 18 total touches. You think he's going to get back towards 20, 25, 30? How are you feeling for this one?
I think they definitely do, because I don't think you want that game where you give him the ball 30 times to be the game against Iowa. I think now is the time to get him in full form. Like, know that he can play a full 4 quarters. He's good to go. Like, I would at least. And that's what I think. So I think this week we're going to see a lot more out of him. And then, coming into Iowa, he's going to be back to bell cow.
I think they're going to ramp it up a little bit, but I don't think he's going to get to the full 30. I think he's going to be right around 22 to 24 carries this week. And then we'll see if they go all in against Iowa. But Iowa looking like they can have some rust they're shaking off, or maybe they're not as stout as people were thinking. They drop a game to Iowa State at home. So now both Iowa and Minnesota have dropped games to power conference schools that they probably should have beat. So that puts a lot more on the line when we get to that week. But we'll get there next week. When we talk predictions, we got to focus on eyes on the prize. Nevada week. I've talked about my biggest concern is overlooking this week and thinking too much about Iowa. So we can't do that here. We got to get back on track, back on focus.
Fair.
So I want you to call your shot with one thing that will happen in this game. It could be something crazy. It could be a certain play. It could be a certain look or what have you. Call your one shot for this game.
I am going to go. I want a defensive touchdown. I'm going to call it defensive touchdown, whether that be a scoop and score fumble, maybe some short yardage that we got him pinned down to, or a pick six. I'm going defensive touchdown.
I'm going to go similar. I'm going to go a touchdown, but not defensive. I'm saying Daniel Jackson gets his first score of the season. I've just been kind of shocked with how little they've been using him. And it's funny because he's had 6 targets last game, 5 targets the game before, which you might be like, okay, well, everybody else on the team only has 2 or 3 targets or 1 target, but this is Daniel Jackson. This is your all conference second team receiver, and he's only getting 5 or 6 targets. This is the same way I felt about Brev the year before, where it's like, look, this is one of your best players. Brev was a preseason All-American. Daniel Jackson is a preseason Big Ten team conference player, and you're only getting him 5 or 6 looks. Like, this dude should be getting 8 looks minimum a game, and he's a difference maker. You talk about he's had 5 targets, 6 targets. He's had 4 receptions in both games. So maybe if you get him 8 targets, he's coming up with 6, 7 receptions in the game, getting close to 100 yards, getting a score, and being that difference for your team, but also opening things up for the rest of them. I just think it's crazy how little they've been using him. So I think this is a game where hopefully he gets into the end zone.
Yeah, I 100% agree. It feels like when you're watching these games that it's always like a shot downfield on second or third down. That's when we look to Daniel Jackson. Like, why are we not just scheming him open with more slants across the middle and whatnot? Like, it's always taking a shot. We're taking a shot. Which it's not that he can't, Daniel Jackson can catch that, but why not give him some higher percentage looks and then take the shot as well? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and it's also even with that, and build your guys' confidence. If you get the ball in your playmaker's hands, give them a bubble screen, give them a slant, give them a drag route. in the first quarter. Give him like 3 or 4 opportunities that are close to the line of scrimmage and let him run after catch. Let him get his good juices going. Let him talk his talk, because that's when the swagger comes. That's when the confidence comes. And that's when you get your best player. You get the dude who's out there making a crazy route, toe drag swag for a game-winning touchdown, because you're getting him going and getting him in that beast mode, getting him in that attack mode. But your guys can't get to that point if you're not targeting them once in the first quarter, or not till the second quarter on a deep shot. It's like, get them going.
You got them out here just running 40-yard sprints back to the huddle. It's crazy.
So I think that, but that's a trend I've seen from this Gophers offensive staff. It's not just this year, it's the year before, it's the year before that. And I feel like they just don't go after their dogs, or they do it when it's too late. Like, get your guys' confidence going so then they can show up big in the late stages. That's where I've been, and I'm just continually let down by the Gophers in that aspect. But the final thing we'll talk about before we move into our predictions, do you have any spicy takes for the week?
I don't have anything super spicy for Nevada, because going into this conference play, I'm gonna cook some stuff up, because I really am gonna be overly confident. Spicy take. I do not have a good one. I don't have a good one.
I've got one.
Okay, let me hear it.
This game is going to be a single score game until the fourth quarter. I think it's going to be like lock and step and ugly, and I mean, maybe Nevada's putting up points with us. I think it's a single score game until the fourth quarter, which sucks because it's Nevada. You know, like, the line for this game is negative 17.5 for the Gophers. So 17.5 points in favor of the Gophers, but it's not going to feel like that when we're watching this game.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of points. That's a lot of points to give the Gophers, but I don't know if I necessarily take them to cover. But I do have confidence that we can keep it out of range, double digits. How about my spicy take is we see the Dragon is going to get a bunch of kicks this week. You know, maybe the defense gets some stops, but it doesn't matter because he's a dog.
All right. We're going to dive into the predictions. We're going to get more into Dragon and a couple other players coming up next. First, we got to talk to you about a couple friends of the show. The first one being eBay Motors, because passion, drive, and patience is the winning formula for championships, but it's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. And let me tell you, they got over 122 million parts for your vehicle, so you'll always find exactly what you're looking for every single time. They've got everything to level you up into peak performance, whether you're into speed, power, or style. They've got you covered, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and so much more. And with the eBay Guaranteed Fit, which is the best part, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every single time, or your money back, because with eBay Motors, you are burning rubber, not cash. So definitely check them out, because with all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply, and the eBay Guaranteed Fit is for U.S. customers only. And while we are at it, we need to talk about our friends over at LinkedIn Jobs, because if you have a small business and you are not posting your jobs on LinkedIn, you are doing yourself a disservice, because you want to find quality professionals that are right for your role fast and for free. Well, LinkedIn Jobs, you can do just that. And they have the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster, for free. And they have multiple tools within their systems, including a tool that can help you write job descriptions and so much more, because LinkedIn Jobs is not just a job board. They help you hire professionals that you can't find anywhere else, and even those people who aren't actively searching for a new job, but you might have that perfect open role for them. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. And with 2.5 million small businesses using LinkedIn for hiring, it's time to get in, because the getting in is good. So post about your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post about your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. All right, Gophers fans, we're diving into the best part of my week. It is the predictions, and we are here with your boy, Tristyn Spann-Ford. We're diving right into it. Instead of passing touchdowns, instead of total touchdowns, we've switched up. I want to know, how many turnovers do the Gophers defense force this weekend?
Well, we had 3 this weekend.
Hold up. We gotta go back, because your boy forgot to put up the weekly winner, and the week 2 winner is none other Then I had to type it in because we didn't do that. I had a show. Here we go. Boom. It was me again. I'm sorry, Tristyn. You are falling behind. It was 6-4 though with the points. So the week one, we had 3-2. This week we both doubled down. We went 6-4. Now here's what we hit on. So we hit on Elijah Spencer he was actually the leading receiver, but we did second on the team. I gave you the point. Elijah Spencer was there. You said 66 yards as a tiebreaker. I believe he had 55. So you were right in swinging distance. When it came to passing touchdowns, I said 3, you said 2. 3 was the exact number. Leading in tackles, you said Baranowski, I said Henderson. Henderson was third on the team in tackles. And then how many made field goals? You got that on the dot with 2. Offensive player of the game, you got that on the dot with Max Brosmer. I was close with the score prediction. I said 49-10. You said 52-10. It was 48-0. And then finally, I took the under on the Brosmer 300 yards, and I ended up getting a point there. We both got the Rhode Island total yardage as an under, and then finally the Gophers turnovers. Your boy hit big and won with over 2.5 turnovers. So now we're turning the page. You got to get on the scoreboard, my guy.
I really do. This is embarrassing.
So, like I said, how many turnovers are you looking for in this one?
I want to say 3 again. I want to go 3 again. I'm feeling good about this week. I think this is going to be another big game for the defense. So give me 3. And one of them's a touchdown.
I'm going between 1 and 2, and I think I'm going to lean 1. I think it's going to be a close game. Like I said, closer than I want it to be. Too close for comfort. And this quarterback hasn't thrown an interception on the season so far, even though last year he was 2 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. So, I mean, he could turn it on just like he has. Overall, I'm leaning 1. Now, who do you have leading in tackles this week?
This week, I want to go Lindenberg. Right? Did I go him last week? Did I go Lindenberg last week?
No, you went Baranowski last week.
Baranowski? Okay, give me Lindenberg this week. I want Lindenberg this week.
All right, I'm gonna go with your boy Danny Strigow. I'm gonna get him on the board. I feel like we haven't been saying his name enough, and so I'm gonna speak it into existence for this one. And I feel like every time you called it last year, he ended up getting it. So let's give him some good juju and get him on the board. All right, so who scores the first touchdown again? We're each gonna take 2 picks here. I'm gonna let you go first, and I feel like I already know, so I started typing it. But what do you got?
Well, now I want to switch it up. I think not Darius Taylor. Darius Taylor is going to be my first pick.
Well, I'm going to stick with my shot that I called and saying Daniel Jackson is scoring a touchdown. Hopefully it's the first one. So I'll go Daniel Jackson. Who you got as your second pick?
Give me leading receiver last week, Elijah Spencer.
All right. And I'm going to take the opposite of your first pick and go with Marcus Major, who got another rushing touchdown last week. So hopefully your boy keeps getting involved. He's a big boy on the running back room. So I think overall it's a good pick. We're going to go with how many sacks does Minnesota get in this game? And I want you to also call your shot and say who gets the sacks.
Okay. Let me say 3 sacks. Devin Eastern gets 1. Jaw Joyner gets the 1. I better get what about? I could take a shot and say like Justin Wally on a corner blitz. Something weird might be fun. Give me Anthony Smith, actually. Anthony Smith. That's your boy.
All right. I'm going to also go with 2. I'm going to go with 2. I'm going to go with Joyner. I think Joyner is going to get back on the board. If he's going to get after double-digit sacks, he's got to get one in this game. Well, Not necessarily this game, but he's got to get back on the board. And then I'm going to go with a DB call. I'm going to go with Jack Henderson being the other one. I think they've been sending him on some blitz packages. I mean, last week he had the fumble recovery. Last week he had the pick 6. I think it's time for a sack. Jack Henderson is trying to get on the NFL draft boards, and I think he can do it. And so we're going to have him with another big game this week and coming up with a sack. Now we've got 3 more here before we get to our actual score prediction. First being who will be. We're not even going to say second on the team. We got to put some respect on their names. We said second on the team in receiving yards last week, and then Daniel Jackson was not the leading receiver. So we're going to put respect on our boys' names. They've been spreading the ball around. So who will lead the team in receiving yards?
Oh, see, now I'm going to go with Daniel Jackson. You got to toss me some softball. I got to get some points on the board. And at least if I don't get points, I know I'm on the right side of history with it should be Daniel Jackson.
Yes, you're probably not wrong there. I'm going to take a shot. I'm going to say Christian Driver. They're going to find a deep shot to him. He's going to turn and burn, get it going. They're going to find him on some underneath routes. Maybe he breaks a tackle, keeps it going. They want to get this dude involved, and you can just tell, even though he only had 2 receptions last week, he's had big plays or big play opportunities in both of the first 2 games. I think they want to get him more and more involved. So Christian Driver, son of the GOAT, Donald Driver. That's my favorite player of all time, so I got to give him love. I got him as my leading receiver for this upcoming week. Now we're going to go offensive player of the game, defensive player of the game, final score predictions. Now I'm going to kick it off with the offensive player of the game. I am going to go with Darius Taylor. I think this is a game where he starts to get it right before we get to Iowa week. So I'm definitely going to take the chalk here. Who are you going for your offensive player of the pick?
I like that pick. I will go with then the other chalk, Max Brosmer. I think,
right.
Yeah.
And then
pretty straightforward.
We'll flip it. You go first on defense.
Oh, give me Maverick Baranowski. I think he's going to have a huge game. I don't know. I like the linebacker room is so it's tough to decide between when we're doing predictions and stuff because I'm so confident in all of them, and it's literally whose turn is it? Like who's going to have a day to day?
All right, they have a mobile quarterback who has been throwing really well. He's been first or second on the team in rushing. I think our linebackers are going to be very, very in tune in this game. So Maverick's a really good call. I'm going to go with Cody Lindenberg. I think he's got to get it back on track and going. And I think this is going to be a good game for his confidence. So I'm going Cody Lindenberg. Now, final score predictions here. What do you got for this one?
I would like to say, because I don't think they're going to cover. So I want to go with.
Do you want to know the over-under for total score in this game?
Yeah. Give me that.
The over-under is 44.5 points.
Okay, that kind of puts me at. I'm going to go 24-10.
I feel like we've been on the same wavelength lately because I totally was starting to type 24 for myself when you said 24. So now I got to avoid that number. But we're going to go 27 for the Gophers. Nah, that doesn't feel right. We're going to go 21-17. 21-17. I told you it's going to be a close one. It's going to be gritty, grimy, and I think Nevada keeps it going with single score games like they have in their first 3 matchups. And yeah, so that's where we are with our score predictions. We're going to get into some over-unders that I've found on Underdog. We'll test those out and maybe help you guys win a little bit of money, and then talk about our biggest worry, our confidence meter for this game, and then finally an unsung hero to wrap up today's show coming up next. First, you boys got to take the banner off. As much as I want to show all the points I am scoring on Tristyn, I need to put the priority on our friends over at Factor Meals. Now, if you haven't, it's time to get in because fuel up with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Now, I don't know about you, but thinking about coming home after a long day of work, I am not always trying to do the cooking, do the prep work, and then you got to do all the cleaning after too. It's just a little bit overwhelming after a long day. Well, you can meet your wellness goals thanks to a menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you always have fun or always have time to enjoy nutritious, great tasting meals. So you can make today the day you kickstart your new healthy routine. What are you waiting for? They have 35 different meals and more than 60 add-ons to choose from every week, and you always have new flavors to experience. And on top of that, you can get things from breakfast to dessert and stay fueled with nutritious options, and you can keep the kitchen time to a minimum. And that's my number one thing with Factor Meals, because Factor Meals are ready in 2 minutes, no shopping, no prepping, no cooking, and no cleaning up. So you can enjoy effortless support for your lifestyle from 6 menu preferences to help you manage your calories, maximize protein intake, avoid meat, or simply just eat a well-balanced meal. Head to factormeals.com/LockedOnCollege50 and use promo code LockedOnCollege50 to get 50% off your first box. Plus, 20% off your next month. So that's LockedOnCollege50 at factormeals.com/LockedOnCollege50, and you will get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. And if your subscription is still active. All right, Gophers fans, we're flying through these over-unders to wrap up today's show. So I took some of these lines from Underdog, but I also made up a couple as well. We got to have some fun with this stuff. So this one's from Underdog. Max Brosmer over under 198.5 passing yards. So basically, do you think he's going to go 199 plus for the over or 198 or less for the under?
This kind of goes into what we talked about earlier about the concerns, or what we're going to talk about is what my biggest concern is if there's any regression. But I'm going to say over if it's consistent. If the play calling remains as consistent as was last week, over. Because he would have went over 300 if he would play that fourth quarter.
I mean, that's the big question right there you just said is if the play calling is consistent, and that is something Gophers fans know too much about. But I'm also going to take the over here. I think Max Brosmer is going to be a 200-yard thrower in a lot of games this season. So I think getting to 200, it might not be more than 200, but I think getting to 200 is definitely a good possibility here. Now they have a line for Darius Taylor and rushing yards. And look, I think we're both going to eat this one up. So it's going to be hard to separate, but over under 89.5 rush yards. So on 14 touches last week, he had 65 rushing yards, I believe. Now we're talking about, we both think he's going to go 20 plus. So 89.5, were you feeling the over or the under?
Yeah, that's definitely an over. That's an over. I think he's going to get a lot more carries this week. So,
all right, we're flipping it to Nevada's total offensive yardage because I thought that was a fun one for us last week. This is not on Underdog, so you can't make any money off of this one unless you want to pay your boy, and I'll tell you if you got it or not. And I'll pocket that money too. But we're going to talk about total offensive yardage. 299.5 yards is what I'm going to set it at. So you think they get 300 plus offensive yards or under 300 over or under for you?
You keep making me nervous. You keep saying this game is going to be close, but I got to stick to my gut, and I'm going to go under. I think it's a good line of what you set it at, just because this is going to be a better team. But I'm confident in the boys this weekend.
I'm with you. I think it's going to be an ugly game. I think it's going to be almost like a Big Ten type football game. And so I think the yardage is going to be under. I think that Nevada has only got over 300 yards against Troy. Otherwise, the other two games, they've been under 300, and it's been ugly wins or ugly down to the wire fights, defense involved. So I think that's going to be the case as well. Now, I hope I'm wrong on everything. I hope that our defense pummels them. I hope that Max Brosmer goes yard on him. I hope Darius Taylor eats him for lunch. And I hope that everybody in the comments is like, Kane, you were absolutely piss poor wrong last week. And I will take that L with pride. But unfortunately, I think that it's going to be a tight one, an ugly one, a scrappy one, but I'm going to take the under. Now, we're going to go with your boy Dragan Kesic. We talked about him. His line on Underdog is over under 1.5 made field goals. What do you got there? Over under 1.5 made.
That feels like free money if you ask me. I think that's going to be over. I think even if the offense gets down the field, if they give him the reins to kick the length of field goals they let him in week 1, because he's not going to miss those again. Like he can hit those. He hits those shots. So I'm going to go over. I think there'll be a couple of opportunities for him to put some points on the board.
Dog, there's no way to separate for us here because I have to take the over as well. And it's not because I want to it's not because I want to hold you down, but it's because like Underdog, do you know PJ Fleck? Bro, PJ Fleck in field goals is like a match made in heaven. This man will take a field goal any second he can. I mean, if you want to go in the 10-yard line, he's going to go run the ball. Oh, we didn't get it. Kick the field goal. I got your gun. So yeah, the fact that it's at 1.5, like, bro, I will take that almost every single week because the Gophers are kicking at least 4. So, I mean, all you got to do is make 50% to get that line.
That is free money. They are giving away money there.
All right. Another one that feels like free money. Daniel Jackson over under 4 receptions.
Oh, yeah. See, I mean, I understand with why they have the line set there, but if you look at his stats from last year, you would hammer that over. That is literally free money. If you saw that, it's literally like one of those picks where they say, will this quarterback throw over a half a yard? You know, like the free picks they give you. That's what it feels like. So that's going to be an over. Like they got to find a way to get this man the ball.
I'm with you. Every game so far, he's only had 4. So you could say push, I guess.
Yes.
And you could say he'll hit exactly 4, but it's going to break at some point. Like at some point, they're going to be like, dude, why aren't we passing this man the ball? Now, I said that about Brev last year, and I feel like they never actually got to that. So maybe I'm over here just absolutely jinxing Daniel Jackson's season, and to which point I would say I am absolutely sorry. But I think that they're going to get him the ball. I think he's going to ball out. So I'm going to go over on that one. Now, we're going to get into the biggest worry, what gives you confidence, and unsung hero to wrap this one up. We'll keep these really brief. What is your biggest worry in this game?
It's got to be what we talked about. Like I said, I'm worried about play regression. I'm worried about regressing back to, okay, things aren't going our way. Let's go back to the script. Let's just run. 3rd and long, let's run. Like, don't go back to the script. Just don't be afraid. Even if we go down, don't be afraid to let it fly. Like, what do you have to lose? You know, I don't regress.
My biggest worry is defensive inconsistencies. I think if the defense continues to not have missed tackles, they're going to be elite this year. And I think that they've been showing that they can be elite. Right now, I believe they're the 8th best defense in total defense right now in the country. And you know what? I think they can add to that this week. This offense isn't high flying in Nevada's. They have a dual threat quarterback, but if you shut him down, they could struggle the entire game. So if the defense makes their tackles and whatnot, I think they could absolutely thrive. But if you're missing tackles on a dual threat quarterback, you could be really hurting, putting yourself behind the sticks, letting them get long drives. And that's when things get scary, ugly, and the Gophers fans are too used to seeing that type of thing. So overall, it's just defensive consistency for me. Now, what gives you confidence in this one?
Mostly the way the defense played last week gives me a ton of confidence. Like the turnover battle is such a huge part of the game, and so if we can come through and get that same amount of energy out of them, then I think that's going to be the difference maker in the game. So I'm super confident.
For me, the thing that makes me confident is DT being healthy. I think we saw the difference-making ability last week, and that was with a limited amount of touches. I think if they unleash him, I'm like, okay, the Gophers are going to win this one. It might be ugly, but we got Darius Taylor, so they're going to make it happen. So that makes me more confident in this matchup. The final thing is, who will be the unsung hero for you?
Give me Dragon Kesich. Unsung, no, because he's going to be, he'll be the hero. Unsung hero, I'm going to get the offensive line. Consistent offensive line play will be the unsung hero because they will play great ball, and we will not even say a word about them next week because that's how the offensive line operates.
I hope you are right. If that happens, I will be so happy. I will be so confident. I will be on the Tristyn Spann-Ford positivity train heading into Iowa week if the offensive line comes with consistency.
Max's gold jersey will be spick and span at the end of this game. Whole uniform.
Ooh, baby.
Love
He's
that.
going to be looking like a straight up banana.
Yep. Yep.
All right. I think the thing that's going to be my unsung hero is going to be Ja Joyner. I think that he didn't do much last game, but he didn't have to. And they played an FCS opponent. He only played 23 snaps, but he didn't have any pressures in the game. And that's something that sounds just absurd when you talk about Ja Joyner. So I think that he's going to put it on this quarterback as far as his dual threat ability. He's going to make this quarterback question himself. And I think that overall, he's going to be a large reason on why this defense thrives.
I like that.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us. We'll be able to tap in next week as we're talking about Iowa Hawkeyes week. Hopefully we're 2-1, and hopefully we're talking about keeping the trophy here. But this is Tristyn Spann-Ford, Kane Rob signing off. I hope you guys are enjoying these things. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Let us know if you have any questions or if you have any lines or any different predictions you want us to jump in on. Drop them in the comments below, and we'll keep them in future shows. Until next time, roll the boat, Sky, you might go Gophers, as always. And please don't forget to hit subscribe.